So if we go back to the beginning, you can see that Noah was definitely not doing what everyone else is doing. He was not, if Noah was doing what everyone else was doing, he would not have made it. He was doing what the Most High said. And the rest of the people did not take that seriously. So please keep Jeremiah chapter 16 verse 6 to 22 in your mind. Jeremiah chapter 6 verse 16 to 22. Jeremiah chapter 6, 16 to 22. We're supposed to go back to the old ways. We're supposed to think the way our ancestors think. And like as I said in the beginning, there are certain languages that we cannot use. Like saying that you're lucky. That is a pagan way of talking. I'm lucky. Oh, you're so lucky. You're lucky. That's when something good happens to you, you say you're lucky. That's a very nice, beautiful way of getting the Most High to become angry at you. That's a very nice way of getting the Most High to abandon you and to let you depend on your luck. Would you like the Most High to allow you to depend on your luck? Would you like that? Because He will. Daniel chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12 from verse 1. You will read about how the angel that the Most High gave charge to protect Israel. Daniel chapter 12. The angel that was protecting Israel was asked to get out of the way. Stop protecting them. Daniel chapter 12. So as soon as that angel stopped protecting Israel, Israel was defeated by their enemies. That was 70 AD. That's how we ended up in Africa. And from Africa, we're scattered in the four corners of the earth. So as a lawkeeper, you cannot open your mouth and say that you're lucky. Something good happens to you, and you, instead of thanking the Most High, you say, I'm lucky. No, you're not lucky. What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Can you explain to me what being lucky is? How do you become lucky? Do you choose to be lucky? How does that happen? Can I go sign up somewhere? Can I pay to become lucky? Can I join a club of lucky people? Or how does that work? This is a hidden, Gentile, pagan. That's the way the infidels talk, because they don't know the Most High. So when something good happens to them, when they're supposed to thank the Most High, they don't thank the Most High. They say, oh, I was lucky. You were lucky. Lucky. That doesn't mean anything. No, we're not lucky. We are thankful. We thank the Most High for everything. We give the Most High all the glory. We thank the Most High for everything. That's who we thank. We are not lucky. There's nothing like luck. That's a hidden way of talking. Same thing with follow your heart. No. We don't follow our heart. We follow the law of the Most High. We follow the law of the Most High. Another one is thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. What the hell? What does that mean? Who is goodness? Who is goodness? How do I go see goodness? Thank goodness. So you're thanking goodness, or you want me to thank goodness for something good that happened to me. How do I request from goodness to give me more good things? This is a Gentile, European, Western, Gentile, heathenish way of thinking. A Canaanite way of thinking. A filthy Gentile way of thinking. Thank goodness. I am lucky. Follow your heart. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. They say these things. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You have to trust in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. Trust in yourself. This is a Gentile, heathenish, Western, European, Canaanite mindset. Mindset of the infidels, those who don't know the Most High, those who hate the Most High, who don't want to give him glory. They are the ones that think like this. Thank goodness. Who is goodness? Where is goodness? I would like to go and see goodness. I want more good things to happen to me. So tell me where goodness is so that I can go and sign up. Thank goodness. Who is goodness? And we open our mouth and we say all this nonsense without even thinking. We talk like the heathen. We just talk and speak and behave like the heathen. We're supposed to be set apart. We're supposed to be different. We don't thank goodness. That's a foolish way of talking. That's the way that the Gentiles speak. Where is goodness? Thank goodness. The worst part that they say is trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Really? Believe in yourself. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. And then you look at our people. They will actually repeat these things. I trust in myself. I believe in myself. Oh my goodness. No, we don't believe in ourselves. We believe in the Most High. We trust on the Most High. We follow His word. Because we know Proverbs 28, verse 9. Proverbs 28, verse 9, that says that he that turns their ear from hearing the law, their prayer is an abomination. So, Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9 says that our heart is wicked, deceitful. Our heart is evil, deceitful. We're not supposed to trust on ourselves. We're not supposed to follow our heart. If you are a woman, my heart is to have sex with you. That is my heart. To steal your money, to rob you. If I really follow my heart, that's what I will do. If I really follow my heart, that's if we truly follow our heart, that's what we will do. And that's what people do today. People follow their heart and they go to a school and they begin to shoot children. People hear voices in their head and they go and they kill their parents. People follow their heart and they see you with your half naked, your breast hanging out, half of your vagina being seen, and they rape you. Because their heart told them to have sex with you, to rape you. That you might be a whore because you dress like a whore. And they follow their heart and they rape you. Or your daughters. So you let your child dress however she wants or however he wants. You let your son dress or your daughter dress however she wants. She follows her heart. You allow her to follow her heart because the Gentiles told you so. You let her dress however she wants. You let her follow her heart. So she put on tight jeans like other girls. She put on tight top like other girls. And then she go out on the street. And these young dogs will see her and they will follow their heart and go after her. And they begin to lie to her. Because it is their heart desire to have sex with her. So they began to tell her what she wants to hear. They look good. They speak well. They talk very well. They speak very good. And she's standing there listening to them. While they are following their heart and saying all this crap to her. They're following their heart. These young people are following, these young dogs are following their heart, standing there talking to your daughter. They are standing there talking to her, speaking their heart, right? They're speaking their heart. And she's standing there listening to them. So by this particular logic, your daughter will follow her heart because that's what she's been hearing on TV, on talk shows, reality shows, movies, music. Follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart. Believe in yourself, trust in yourself, believe in yourself. She keeps hearing this and it gets into their head. So here you have a young dog. A dog, and I'm using that word, the dog, in a negative way. This dog just wants to climb on top of your daughter. That's it. There's nothing else that this dog wants from her. Just to hump on her. That's it. Because the young boy or young man, is following his own heart. I just want you to see the danger of following your heart and believing and repeating this nonsense, repeating these hidden languages that we use, pagan languages, hidden languages and pagan languages, the language of the heathen, the language of the Gentiles, the way they talk, the language of the infidels. The people that the Bible calls infidels, those who don't know the Most High. We are using their language and it's having a devastating influence on us today and we don't even realize it. So the young dog is standing there following his own heart because his heart tells her, that little whore, that thing that dressed like a whore, you need to go talk to her, you need to have sex with her. So he goes. You see that little whore over there? She dressed like she can be easy to get. She has no veil. She doesn't dress moderately. Because those of us who are men, we do realize, we know, if you've been around, you know that it's harder to get a woman that dresses moderately. Very difficult to get them to bed. It's extremely difficult because they are very confident. They have extremely high self-esteem. Women, if you are a man and you've been around the block and you've dealt with women, you know that it's difficult to get a woman that dresses moderately to bed. Extremely difficult. So majority of the time, we don't even bother. We don't even try. We don't even try. It's a waste of time. Most of the time, it doesn't work. Because at the end of the day, she might end up telling you that you have to marry her before she will have sex. We already know that from the beginning. So as soon as you see her with her moderate dressing, most of the time we don't even bother. Which is good for her, because what we really want from her is just to have sex with her and add her into our catalog of the women we've been with. But when we follow our heart and approach her, we don't tell her those things. We lie to her. We tell her that she's beautiful. We tell her all this nonsense that is not true. Because we're following our heart. So your young daughter is listening to this garbage from the young man that is following his own heart. And at some point, your young daughter will now be convinced by the lies that she's hearing. And she will follow her own heart because he looks good, he dresses very well, he talks very well. So she will follow her own heart and she will take her phone number and she will give her phone number to this dog, to this pig. And he will continue to follow his own heart, testing her. And the next thing you will know, he is right on top of her. Few months later or few years later, they are no longer together or they are divorced. Because he followed his own heart and went after her just because of sex. He's following his own heart. She listened to him and believed his lies because she was following her own heart. He became interested in her because she dressed like a whore. She dressed like a whore because she was following her own heart. And you allowed her to follow her own heart, to trust in herself, to believe in herself. That is the danger of talking like the Gentiles, or listening to the Gentiles, or following their doctrines, following their ideology, Western ideology, European ideology. That's a pagan ideology, satanic ideology. That is a problem for anybody that is keeping the law or who wants to make it into the kingdom of heaven. It's a problem. When you go past a restaurant, have you ever passed a restaurant? Have you ever been passing a restaurant and you hear a good smell? It smells really good. It smells good. What does your heart tell you? If you don't have self-control, you will go in there and you will eat that, what you eat whatever you see there. I have told you, whatever the Europeans are promoting is bad. 100%. If you see white people asking you to do something, run. Do the opposite. So if white people are telling you, hey, go touch this thing over here, touch this one on the left. No. Go touch the one on the right. If white people are telling you, go touch the one on the right, stop, step away, go and grab and embrace the one on the left. Hold it very tight. Do you know the amount of devastation, lives that has been ruined, people that have lost their lives, how many babies that have been killed, all kinds of evil that have happened because we're following our heart? When the Bible clearly tells you that your heart is deceitful, Jeremiah 17:9. Your heart is deceitful. We're not supposed to follow our heart. If I am to follow my heart, I will probably be asking you to pay tithes and offering. Probably. I'll probably come up with a very good reason that will make sense to you. So if I'm to follow my heart, I'll be doing what everyone else is doing. I'll come up with a very good, nice, good, reasonable reason to get you to give me money. What did I tell you? If you want to pay your tithes and your offering, go and help people who are hungry around you. Wherever you are, look for hungry people, homeless people, help them. Go pay your tithes and your offering over there. There's a danger in following your own heart. These are things that we say, we don't even realize the nonsense that we are saying. It makes no sense. How do you follow your heart? Think about it. Just think about it. We say all kinds of nonsense without even realizing what we're saying, without even thinking. This is what I do to people when they tell me, brother, you say that the day begins from morning to morning. What about Genesis chapter 1? It says that the day is it says that and the evening and the morning was the first day. The Bible says in Genesis chapter 1, and the evening and the morning was the first day. I say, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean? Normally you have 24 hours in a day. Daytime usually is about 12 hours. Nighttime is usually about 12 hours, 24 hours. That's why Christ said that there's 12 hours in a day. There's 12 hours in the daytime. From morning till evening is about 12 hours. From evening to the next morning it's about 12 hours. So there's 24 hours in a day. So if you tell me, as you're saying, that the Bible says and the evening and the morning was the first day, what does that mean? And the evening and the morning, that doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. That was a mistranslation. But people kept saying it over and over and over and over until I stopped them. Tell me what it means, and they began to think. That's when they began to think about it. There's all kinds of rubbish that we say, all kinds of nonsense that we say without even thinking about it. Follow your heart. How do you follow your heart? Do you really want to be around people who are following their heart? You think so? Would you really want to be around bunch of people who are following their heart? Would you really want? I don't want to be around you if you're following your heart. I don't want to be around you. If I follow my heart and you're around me, I'll probably rape you if you're a woman. If I'm following my heart and you are around me, I will probably rape you. Is that what you want? Because my heart might tell me that it will be a very pleasurable thing to do. Would you really want to be around people who are following their heart? I just want you to think about this nonsense that we learn from the Gentiles that we're saying today. These are hidden languages, pagan languages, a Canaanite way of thinking. Follow your heart. You are lucky. Believe in yourself. How do you believe in yourself? These are powerful situations at the most important moment that you're supposed to trust on your God. You're supposed to follow your God. What they're really telling you is that no. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. So if you believe in yourself, what happens? If you have a challenge, you have a problem that is facing you, how do you solve it? By believing in yourself. If you have an issue that is out of your control, how do you solve it? By believing in yourself. What does that do? Do you see how they're distracting you from trusting on your God? Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 20. So you can see what a man that was in trouble. Let's see what he did when he was in trouble. 2 Chronicles chapter 20. 2 Chronicles, number 2 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles chapter 20. 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 After this, the Moabite and Ammonite, and with them some of the Meunite, came against Jehoshaphat for battle. Verse 2. Messengers came and told Jehoshaphat, a great multitude is coming against you from Edom, from beyond the sea. Already they are at Hazaron Tamar, that is Engedi. Verse 3. Jehoshaphat was afraid. He set himself to seek Yahweh Elohim, or God. He set himself, I'm going to speak clearly. He set himself. Verse 3. 2 Chronicles chapter 20 verse 3. 2 Chronicles chapter 20 verse 3. Jehoshaphat, he is the king of Judah. Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. 2 Chronicles chapter, you can see that he is a king in chapter 19. Look at chapter 19 verse 1. Chapter 19, 2 Chronicles chapter 19 verse 1. King Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. That's who we are talking about here. He is the king of Judah. He has armies. He has power. He has armies. So if he is to go to battle, he's not going to probably be the one that will fight these people. But so he has, even though he has power, look what he did. Chapter 20, verse 3. 2 Chronicles 20, verse 3. Jehoshaphat was afraid. He set himself to seek God or Yahweh and proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah. Verse 4, Judah or Yehuda assembled, the people of Judah, the Israelite people of Judah assembled to seek help from Yah or Yahweh, our God. From all the towns of Judah, they came to seek our God. Okay, verse 5. Verse 5, 2 Chronicles 25. Jehoshaphat stood in the assembly of Judah and Jerusalem, in the house of Yahweh, our God, before the new court. Verse 6, and said, O Yahweh Elohim of our ancestors, are you not God in heaven? Do you not rule over all the kingdoms of the nations? In your hand are power and might, so that no one is able to withstand you. Verse 7, did you not, O our Elohim, drive out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and give it for forever to the descendant of your friend Abraham? Verse 8, they have lived in it, and in it have built you a sanctuary for your name, saying, verse 9, if disaster comes upon us, the sword, judgment, or pestilence, or famine, we will stand before this house and before you, for your name is in this house, and cry to you in our distress, and you will hear and save us. Verse 10, see now, the people of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, whom you will not let Israel invade when they came from the land of Egypt, whom they avoided and did not destroy. Verse 11, they reward us by coming to drive us out of your possession that you have given to us to inherit. Verse 12, O our Elohim, will you not execute judgment upon them? For we are powerless against this multitude that is coming against us. We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you. Let me stop there. But our eyes are on you. We do not know what to do. We are powerless. Our eyes are on you. That is what we're supposed to do when we're in trouble. That is what we're supposed to do when we are in trouble. That is what we're supposed to do when we have challenges. We're supposed to trust on the Most High, not follow our own heart. Our heart is deceitful. Our heart is evil. The worst thing you could do when you are in trouble is to believe in yourself, to trust in yourself. Don't even open your mouth and say such a thing. That is an evil thing to say. Trust in yourself. You are now making yourself a god. That is a situation where your God will now abandon you to go and fend for yourself. You trust in yourself, right? Okay, go ahead. You believe in yourself. Go ahead and fight for yourself. So when you have some time, go ahead and finish up the chapter, 2 Chronicles chapter 20, and you see what the Most High did there. So we don't trust in ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. I don't trust in myself. I don't believe in myself. I rely on the law. I don't trust in myself. I find myself rebuking myself sometimes. I find myself angry at myself. Yes, I have to be angry at myself sometimes. I have to force myself to do things. There are things that I don't want to do. I don't want to do it. Because either it's difficult, it's inconvenient, it's not pleasurable, so I don't really want to do it. But I will force myself because of the law. I go certain miles that I may not want to go. I help somebody that I may not want to help because of the law. We have to look at John 7:24. 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 Do not judge by appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. Do not judge by appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. Do not judge by appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. You see, appearance is what we see with our eyes. When you see me, I will appear to you in a certain way. If I have my beard, my fringes, and I dress moderately, you will probably think that I am righteous. Why? Because I'm wearing certain things that you find in the Bible. So my appearance looks certain way. So Christ, our Savior, is telling us, do not judge by appearance. When you look at someone, you begin to think. If you see someone who is like a gang member, tattoos all over them, their trouser is almost dragging on the ground, you will most likely think that they are a gang member. If you see someone that dresses certain way, but these things you have to make up in your mind. You have to usually, whatever decision that you make in your mind. So Christ is telling us, don't do that. Christ is telling us, don't judge people by appearance. Don't do that. Don't judge people by the way they look. Just because they look righteous doesn't mean that they're righteous. Did you know that even the Pope wears fringes? The Pope wears fringes. The Pope wears a white robe like the Levite. He wears the fringes like the Levite. Does that mean that the Pope is righteous? No. So don't judge by appearance, by just looking at people. That's what worldly people do. Worldly people will usually look at appearance because they are worldly, they are fleshly. So it's all about here, now, flesh, whatever I see now, what I can see now. They don't look beyond. That's why a young boy will see your daughter in her tight jeans and tight this, and he begins to follow his heart and lust after her. Righteous people go beyond that. It's not about appearance. Because oftentimes people will appear to be someone, And then later on in the future, you realize that they're not who they appeared to be. Appearance. We're not supposed to judge people by appearance. We're supposed to judge people based on the law. How are they keeping the law? Are they keeping this law? The law is supposed to be our standard. So in other words, we don't follow our heart. You don't follow your heart when you meet people. You don't judge them because you think that they're so quiet. They must be good. There are people who are quiet, but they are deadly. There are people that make lots of noise, but they're not as dangerous as those who are very quiet. So righteous people go beyond appearance and they don't follow their heart. There are people that dress moderately, everything looks fine, everything is fine, but you cannot judge them based on that. See, I speak against these Hebrew Israelite camps like IUIC. I told you that IUIC is a satanic organization. Why would I say that? Don't they have their beards? They do. Don't they wear their fringes? They do. Right? They do. So why would I say that they are a satanic organization? Why? Because I'm judging them based on the law. You can wear your fringes, you can grow your beard, but if you reject the calendar that your ancestors used, if you reject the calendar that your God created, if you reject it and you're keeping Sabbath on a man-made day, like Saturday, you are satanic. If you go to the person that you have been insulting, to the white man that you have been calling devil, 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 he's the devil, he's the devil, devil, he's the devil, 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 devil. And then you turn right back and you go to him and you say to him, hey, how you doing? I would like to register my Hebrew Israelite organization. Really? Why would you want to go register your Hebrew Israelite organization to the devil? Because IUIC is registered with the American government. Why would you do that? It's like the Israelite going to the Canaanite to go register our organization. That makes no sense. What do you think the Most High will think of that? So when you look at them on the street, when you look at their appearance, you'll be thinking, oh yeah, they are worshiping the Most High. You're not judging them righteously. If you judge them according to the law, you begin to see the problem. So we're not supposed to follow our heart. We're supposed to follow only the law. When people follow their heart, it doesn't end very well. For those of you who used to have a wife, but you no longer live with her, when you met her for the first time, did you not follow your heart? You did. If somebody came to you that same very day that you met her, and somebody tapped you on the shoulder and said to you, brother, she is not your wife, your marriage with her will collapse, you will not believe that person. You will think that that person is crazy. Because at that very moment that you met her, you're following your heart. Same thing with women. Whatever man, whoever you were with in the past in your life, when you met that man, you followed your heart. If somebody had come to you at that very moment and told you, sister, this is not going to work, he is not for you, you would have ignored that person because you're following your heart. So people will say something like, oh, that they are in love. And then 6 months later, so they invite you You waste your time. You go to their so-called wedding. You buy them presents. You waste your one day of your life to go to their wedding, only to about 2 years later to realize that they are divorced. Following your heart never ends well. We're not supposed to follow our heart. We're only supposed to follow the law of our Creator, the law of our Heavenly Father. That's what we follow. That's our guide. The law is what guides us. This is the reason why you see that in Deuteronomy chapter 17, our Creator said that the king of Israel should receive a copy of the law. He's supposed to read it all the time. The king of Israel. So typically, the law of the Most High, the Torah and the prophets are usually with the priests at the temple. This is the reason why you will see that at the end of Luke chapter 21, at the very end of Luke 21, you see that Christ, Yeshua, was teaching at the temple every day. Luke chapter 21, at the very end of the chapter, he was teaching at the temple every day. People came to the temple to listen to him every day. Acts chapter 2, the same thing. The apostles were in the house of the Most High at the temple every day. So why were the Israelites going to the temple every day? Because that was where the Torah is. That was where the law is. So the Israelites go there every day on a daily basis to go hear the law. So why did the Most High say in Deuteronomy chapter 17? Deuteronomy chapter 17, our Heavenly Father says that the king of Israel is supposed to have a copy of the law. He's supposed to have it with him in his house. This is the reason why if you read in Proverbs 31, that woman that was talking to her son in Proverbs 31 told her son, "My son, do not drink strong drinks. That strong drinks are not for kings. Because if they get drunk, they will forget the law." Proverbs 31. Because a king, as she said in Proverbs 31, you can see that a king is supposed to follow the law. You go back to Deuteronomy chapter 17, the Most High said that a king is supposed to get a copy of the law. So every decision that the king of Israel makes is supposed to be based on the law. The king of Israel is supposed to make every decision based on the law. The king of Israel is not allowed to follow his own heart or his own judgment. Whatever he decides will be according to the law. That is the king of Israel. Now, every man is the king of his own house. Example, Genesis 3:16. Genesis 3:16. Our Heavenly Father told Eve that it will be your desire to control your husband, but he will rule over you. He will rule over you. So a man has a dominion over his house. A man is the king of his house. He is the ruler. And a man is not supposed to rule his house following his own heart. Because like it says in Jeremiah 17:9, our heart is wicked, is deceitful. Jeremiah 17:9. So if you go back to the actual requirement that the Most High have for us, Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12 and 13. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12 and 13. O Israel, what does your God require of you? That you fear him, that you keep his commandment, that you serve him. Every man of Israel is supposed to be keeping the law and run his household according to the law. This is the reason why it says in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6 to 9. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6 to 9. To talk about the law all the time. Talk about it all the time. When you sleep, when you eat, when you... all the time. Everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. All the time. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6 to 9. Keep these words that I am commanding you today in your heart. Keep these words that I am commanding you today in your heart. Keep these words that I am commanding you today in your heart. They say you should follow your heart, right? Are you keeping the word of the Most High in your heart? How can you tell your child to follow his heart, to trust in himself, to follow his heart, to follow her heart, when you have not put the law of the Most High in their heart? So Deuteronomy chapter 6 from verse 6 to 9. Keep these words that I'm commanding you today in your heart. Verse 7. Recite them to your children and talk about them when you are at home, when you are away, when you lie down, when you rise. Bind them as a sign on your hand and fix them as an emblem on your forehead. Verse 9. Write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gate. So if you go, let's start from what happens when you wake up in the morning. Just so you see what the Messiah is telling us here about his law. How we are supposed to be all about his law. Let's start from what happens when you wake up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to... what does he say? Let's see what he says. Verse 7. Verse 7. Recite them to your children and talk about them when you are at home, when you are away, when you lie down and when you rise. So when you wake up, you're supposed to pick up your scripture and read a little bit somewhere in the book of Leviticus or Deuteronomy or Numbers. Even if it's just one verse, pick up your phone. You open up your Bible, you go to one of these chapters, one of these books, Deuteronomy or Exodus or Numbers. You read one or two verses, you think about it, you pray, you get up. So you start off with the law of the Most High. Throughout the day, you're supposed to be talking about the law. Throughout the day, you're supposed to be talking about the law in one way or the other. You go on, you put on your clothes, you put on your fringes. You're putting on your fringes because of the law. If you're a woman, you put on your veil. You're putting on your veil because of the law. Everything, when you in front of your house, when you're leaving your house, the law is posted on the front door. When you get to the gate, the law is posted at the gate. Then you leave, you go about your business. As you do the things you do, then you come back. When you get back, When you come back, as soon as you get in front of your house, the law is written on your gate. You get to the front door, the law is written on the front door. You get inside the house, you see your children, they're wearing their fringes, you think of the law. If they are not wearing their fringes, you think of the law and you ask them, why are you not wearing your fringes? So it's supposed to be all about the law. Our life is supposed to be all about the law. Every day, every night. And you are the one that's supposed to put that law. Supposed to write it somewhere. Supposed to write it on something and use a nail and knock it in front of your front door. At the very top of the front door. Outside. You write it somewhere and put it right there. Write it on something and put it right in front. Somewhere. Nobody's going to do it. When you put that in your house, that's part of what it means to be set apart. He told us to be set apart. Leviticus 20:26. Leviticus 20:26. Be ye holy, for I am holy, and I have separated you. We can't just become holy overnight. We have to do things that will make us holy. Like when he says, keep the Sabbath. Make it holy. We're supposed to keep the Sabbath as a holy day. If we go out and do everything that we do on a regular day, then we are not keeping the Sabbath day holy. Holy, to be set apart. Supposed to keep the Sabbath holy. Set it apart. So the law will not just appear in your front door. You will have to put it there. And as soon as you do, your neighbor doesn't do that. Your brothers does not do that. Your family don't do that. So that sets you apart. The kingdom of heaven is for those who have been set apart. If you want to be like everyone else, the kingdom of heaven is not for you. The process of being set apart begins now. This is the reason why the rest of the world was drowned, and Noah and his family was saved, because they were set apart. If Noah was behaving like everyone else, they would not have made it. Lot, when Lot came out of Sodom, look what happened to his wife. She looked back, and you saw what happened to her. So just look at the situation where we're supposed to talk about the law all the time. Every decision that we make is supposed to be about the law. We don't follow our heart. I got a message from a sister that wants to travel, and she wants to know, when will the Sabbath be? She wants to make sure that she doesn't buy her ticket, and travel on the Sabbath. We're not supposed to follow our heart. We're not supposed to do that. I also have another sister that did travel on the Sabbath. So I have a sister that contacted me and say, brother, can you, I would like to, I'm thinking of traveling, and do you know, I want to make sure that I don't travel on the Sabbath. At the same time, I have another sister that did travel on the Sabbath. What's the difference between these two? Because the other one followed her heart. And she was kicked out of this congregation because of that. Or kicked out of this Sabbath, she was kicked out from joining us for worship. So we're not supposed to follow our heart. We're supposed to follow the law. The Gentiles have been saying this on their music videos, their TV shows, their billboards, in one way or the other. Follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart, trust in yourself, believe in yourself, lucky, thank goodness. These are useless things that we have joined these people to say. The heathens are foolish. The Gentiles are foolish. Do you understand that? These people are foolish. And the Most High have now described us as being foolish. Jeremiah chapter 5. Jeremiah chapter 5. And Deuteronomy chapter 32. Why did he describe us as foolish people? Because we're following the Gentiles. We're following fools. The only way somebody will be saying thank goodness. Anybody that says thank goodness is someone who doesn't know the Most High. Thank goodness. If you truly know God and you love God, if you happen to be in a situation where something good happens to you, you will not say thank goodness. You will say thank God. I thank God. I thank the Most High. I'm grateful. I thank the Most High. That's what normal person who know the Most High will say. As soon as something good happens to them, they will say, thank the Most High. I thank the Most High. A heathen, a pagan, a Gentile, an infidel will say, thank goodness. An European, a Gentile, an European will say, thank goodness. Why say thank goodness when you can say thank the Most High? The reason because they don't know the Most High. And we've joined them in saying these useless, stupid things that they say. We've joined them in speaking pagan language. The talking point of the Canaanite. We're beginning to talk like the Canaanite. Or the modern day Canaanite. Why will somebody say, trust your heart, follow your heart? Why? Why would somebody say that when you can say, trust on the Most High, follow the Most High? Just think about that. The only reason why somebody will say, trust your heart, follow your heart is because they don't know the Most High. I just want you to see why they speak the way they speak and why you should not speak like that. Think about it. Why would somebody say trust your heart, follow your heart, when the Bible tells us that our heart is wicked, when the Most High wants us to follow the law? Because they don't know the Most High. We cannot speak like that. We cannot. And it has a devastating consequences. I've given you an example of decisions that you've made because you followed your heart. Choices, because you followed your heart. It's devastating, and I'm still seeing it till today. I see young people, I see young girls, I see women that will let their children. I've also seen women that are very, very sad today. Very sad. They are devastated because they truly love the Most High. For those of you who might be wondering, why is this brother saying this? I'm saying this because I've seen women that truly love the Most High. They truly love Him. And they want to obey the law of the Most High. And now they realize that they lost their virginity the wrong way to a man who was not ready to marry them. So now they are devastated. They wish they knew these things when they were younger. So if you don't control, or if you allow your children to follow their own heart, as the Gentiles have told you to follow your own heart, if you allow this to happen, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, your child or your grandchildren will look back and they will realize who they are. They will realize that we are Hebrew Israelites. They will realize that we have to keep the law. And she will also realize that she's lost her virginity. And she will realize that she's living with a man who is not her husband. And your daughter or your granddaughter or your great granddaughter will be devastated. That's why this is a big deal. So when I see young women, when I see mothers, older women who allows their daughters to follow their heart, to dress like everyone else, it has the huge consequences. Because 99.99999% of the young men that will approach your daughter when she dresses like every other girl, most of these men don't care about your daughter. These men are like hungry wolves that have been starving. They are hungry and thirsty. And when they look at your daughter, they're looking at meat. And they can't wait to devour your daughter. So these men, I call them dogs. These dogs and pigs are attracted. These wolves are attracted to your daughter because of what she's wearing. Not because they care about her. And the result is that it could be 6 months, it could be 2 years, they could marry her, but eventually the whole thing will collapse because they became interested in her because of her body. And he follows his own heart, like as I said. And she is going to listen to him and believe his lies because she is following her own heart. She's not supposed to. You see, Judges chapter 14. Judges chapter 14 is a very good example of this. Judges, the book of Judges, chapter 14 from verse 1. Samson sees a young girl that he wants to marry. Samson liked her. Samson wanted her. But Samson did not follow his own heart. Samson went home and told his father and his mother to go marry that girl for her. Now, let's turn that around and look at another example. Jubilees chapter 30. Jubilees chapter 30. Jubilees chapter 30. A Gentile who was not an Israelite, a Gentile, sees Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, the sister of the Israelite. She was 10 years old. This Gentile sees her, a Shechemite sees her. This Gentile follows his heart and took Dinah and had sex with Dinah. After he had sex with Dinah, he now went to Jacob and said to Jacob, I would like to marry your daughter. And the sons of Israel, the 12, Levi, Benjamin, Gad, Issachar, these people were furious that this Gentile did this to their sister. They killed these Gentiles. The Israelites killed them. So do you see the difference between us and the Gentiles? This is a biblical example that I'm giving you here. So you look at Judges chapter 14. A Hebrew sees a girl that he wants to marry. He didn't follow his heart. He went home and did what he's supposed to do, which is to get his parents to go get that girl for him. He knew that he cannot get his own wife. Like as I told you, your son is not supposed to get his own wife. We are not Gentiles. We are Hebrew. We do arrange marriage. You are supposed to find a wife for your son. You are supposed to find a husband for your daughter. Look at the devastation. Look at the pain, look at the suffering, look at the misery, look at the loneliness that our sisters are going through today because they follow their own heart. Your son will follow his own heart and find some little Jezebel, and she will come into your family and tear your family apart. So we don't follow our own heart. But I see people that let their children follow their own heart. And I see young people that dress with tight jeans, tight blouse, breast is out, pointing out, tight everything. You can see the line of her underwear because the tight jeans is so tight. You see all this. These young men will see her and they are lusting after her. They are following their own heart. And her virginity will be thrown away because everybody is running around following their own heart. Everybody is running around following their own heart. Everybody, literally. Everybody. Jeremiah chapter 9 from verse 11. Jeremiah chapter 9 from verse 11. Jeremiah 9:11 to 16. Jeremiah chapter 9:11 to 16. Jeremiah chapter 9:11 to 16. Let's see what the Most High said about following our own heart. Jeremiah 9:11 to 16. I will make Jerusalem a heap of ruins, a lair of jackals. I will make the towns of Yehuda a desolation without inhabitants. Verse 12. Who is wise enough to understand this? To whom has the mouth of Yah spoken, so that they may declare it? Why is the land ruined and laid waste like a wilderness, so that no one passes through? Verse 13, Jeremiah 9:13, Jeremiah 9:13, Jeremiah chapter 9 verse 13. And Yahweh said this, and Yahweh says, because they have forsaken my law that I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice or walked in accordance with it. Verse 14, verse 14, verse 14, Jeremiah 9:14. But have stubbornly followed their own heart, and have gone after the Baals as their ancestors taught them. Verse 15. Therefore, thou says Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, I am feeding these people with wormwood, giving them poisonous water to drink. Verse 16. I will scatter them among the nations, that neither they nor their ancestors have known. I will send the sword after them until I have consumed them. Why? 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 Why will he do this? Why? Verse 13, Jeremiah 9:13, and Yahweh says, because they have forsaken my law that I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice or walked in accordance with it. Verse 14, but have stubbornly followed their own heart and gone after Baals. Let me say it for the 1 millionth time. Whenever white people, I've said this many times. Let me say it again. Whenever white people, if white people ask you to do this, step back, go and do the other thing. If white people tell you to do A, that means that that's satanic. That's what it means. If white people are encouraging you to do something, If they are advising you and encouraging you and you see them doing something, as soon as you see them doing something or they're asking you to do something, just know that that thing is against the scripture. If they are promoting something, it means that I guarantee you, guaranteed 100%. If white people are promoting something, it means that God, the Most High, is against that thing. If you see white people condemning something, I guarantee you, go and look into the scriptures. The Most High is asking you to do that thing. Iran. You are hearing about Iran in the news lately, right? Well, white people will tell you that Iranians are terrorists. And basically the whole world believes that. White people will tell you, the Europeans will tell you that I'm giving you an example with actual event, facts, actual events happening right now. White people will tell you that the Iranians are troublemakers. They are terrorists. And that they are the ones attacking America. The whole world believes that right now. Why? Because of the propaganda of white people through their TVs and their radios. But what is really the truth? Do you even want to know the truth? Because if you really want to know the truth, the question that you should ask is, why is America in Iraq in the first place? Because Iraq is the neighborhood, the backyard of the Iranians. Why are they there in the first place? That is the very first question any honest person needs to ask. Because we don't see China in your backyard in Mexico. We don't see Russia in your backyard in Mexico. The Americans have actually gone into Iran and overthrown an Iranian government that was elected by the Iranian people. Somebody that was elected by the people. Americans went and overthrew that government in the 70s. And America has been attacking the Iranians till today. Americans say that Iranians cannot have nuclear bomb. But who gives America power to decide who gets a nuclear bomb and who doesn't? Who gives them that power? So these are questions that people are not asking. Why am I using this as an example? Because they are telling you that Iranians are terrorists. And yet, the Americans are the only terrorists in this world right now. Americans have terrorized people from the beginning of their existence. From the time that the Most High raised them up, they've been the terrorists of the world till this day. Look at the book of Maccabees. From the time the Romans began to rule the world, it was death and destruction, rape and murder from the beginning, from day one. From day one. So the Most High made them this way, to be thieves and robbers. And that's who he sent against you. Just like he said in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 from verse 47. Deuteronomy 28 from verse 47. He basically said that he will send a ruthless nation against you. Ruthless, like a nation, a heartless nation. a heartless nation. So here you have people who are terrorizing the Iranians, telling you that the Iranians are the terrorists. You have the actual terrorist of the world. Let me give you a little assignment. When you have time, go on YouTube and type in Obama, America created ISIS. Obama, America created ISIS. You will watch a video where you will see Obama. You will see a video. Bring your phone close to your eyes or look very close to your computer. Look very close and watch his mouth. You will hear him. He will tell you that the Americans are funding ISIS in Syria. So if you are somebody who are watching this world event, if you're paying close attention, as you should, you're supposed to ask yourself, wait a minute, did he just say that? Because what he was saying wasn't coming from his heart. He was reading a teleprompter. He was reading something that was written down. So the Americans would tell you that they are funding ISIS. The same Americans would tell you that ISIS is a terrorist organization. So which one is it? Americans tell you that Taliban are terrorists, and yet Americans created Taliban and funded them and gave them guns. So which one is it? You are dealing with the devil. 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 Lies and deception. Lies and deception. Lies and deception. Lies and deception all the way from the beginning in the Garden of Eden. Lies and deception. Lies and deception. Here, come over here. Come get this welfare. Our sisters run. They got the welfare in the 1960s. Here we are today. You get the welfare, then you realize that it's not enough. You've kicked out your husband. Now you're stuck with the kids yourself. You realize that welfare is not enough. Now you have to go work. So the fathers are gone. The kids are by themselves because you still have to work. So all of a sudden, kids are having kids. Kids are raising kids and kids are having kids. That's how we got to where we are today. Lies and deception. Education, 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 education. And you never ask yourself, why are they promoting education? Why? Why are they promoting this? We did not come up with education. We seek to be educated because the white man told us that it's a good thing. Go study the history of education, Western education. That's a white man's idea. But we have accepted their lies. Their lies have become our lies, which is the worst thing that could happen to you. See, that's what Satan does. Satan doesn't just deceive. Oh, no, 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 no. Satan doesn't just lie to you. Satan wants to get you in on the lie. Satan will come at you in a way that he will convince you to also accept, so that that lie will become your lie. You will buy the lie. It belongs to you. Why? So that you will defend the lie too. It becomes your lie. So this is the reason why Eve was able to convince Adam. So at some point, Eve was following the commandment to not touch that tree. Eve, that was all Eve knew, the law. That's it. But Satan came and sold that lie, that deception. So the lie belongs to Eve now. She bought the lie. It belongs to her. So she, not only is she living that lie, but she will also convince you to get in on the lie. She will fight to protect the lie. Think of your average woman today on the street. When you talk about women wearing trousers, she will give you all kinds of reasons because it's now her lies. Think of those who are observing Christmas. They will tell you, yeah, we know that he wasn't born on July 25th, but they will still defend it. That's the dangerous form of deception. Satan was the only one that was doing this. Satan does this, and we see why people doing the exact same thing. They don't just lie to you. They do not just lie to you. They make sure that they convince you to also accept that lie. It becomes your lie. So that even when they let go of that lie, you will not let it go. You will even start fighting them. So even when they let go of the lie, you will not let it go. You will hold on to that lie. Think of Christianity. There was a time people in Africa had no idea what Christianity is. Christianity was imported into Africa by the Europeans. Africans had no idea what Christianity is. But the most Christians in the world today is in Africa. The craziest Christians in the world are in Africa. The richest pastors in the world are in Africa. Africans are more Christians than the Europeans today. And yet it came from the Europeans. You go to Europe today, they are turning churches. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have to go to Europe. Go to YouTube. Go look it up on YouTube. They are converting churches into mosques in Europe today because they don't have enough people going to church anymore. And yet, churches are skyrocketing in Africa. Almost every family you come in, there's a pastor. And also, at the same time, sin, abomination, wickedness, evil, envy, prostitution, murder, all kinds of abomination is skyrocketing in Africa. The churches are growing and evil is also growing as fast as the churches. It's supposed to be the opposite. And churches are declining in Europe. So those who were deceived into Christianity are now more Christians than those that gave them Christianity. This is exactly what you will see in the book of Ezekiel chapter 23 and chapter 24. Read carefully. Read those two chapters carefully. You will see that the Most High, our God, was talking about how we, the Israelites, we don't know about something. We don't know about a sin. And then we learn it from other people, and then we become worse than those people. Ezekiel 23 and chapter 24 also. The Most High, our God, describe how we usually will learn something from the Gentiles, from the heathen. We learn something bad from them, and then we will take it to a whole new level, to the point that those people will be saying to us, whoa, 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 slow down. We taught you these things. Ezekiel chapter 24 and also chapter 23. Start from chapter 23 and you will clearly see it. You will clearly see it. And that is who we are today. That is how you have a situation where all this evil that we've learned from the Gentiles, we are not. Look at education, for example. You see Africans, people who call themselves Nigerians, bragging. They are bragging that they are the most educated. And they're celebrating. They are bragging and celebrating that they are the most educated. So the so-called Africans, the so-called Igbo people, are now more educated than white people that gave them education. Think about that. Think about that. It's very important for you to understand this situation. The idea that they not only lie to you, but they will try to get you to buy into their lie, to accept their lie and buy into their lie, and it becomes your lie. So all of a sudden, you have Eve standing there trying to convince Adam of something that few hours ago she did not even know about. This is what they're still doing till this very day. This is what they are still doing and what we are still doing till this very day. So whenever you see them promoting something, as you saw or as you see in Jeremiah chapter 9 from verse 11 to 16, it clearly says in verse 13 that we abandon the law of the Most High and we begin to follow our heart. Jeremiah 17:9 says that our heart is wicked, it's deceitful. That's Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 9. Jeremiah chapter 9 from verse 11 to 16. You see that the Most High said that we abandoned his law and we followed our heart. My brothers and sisters, do you see that we're not supposed to follow our heart? We're not supposed to follow our heart. We are not supposed to follow our heart. We're supposed to only follow the law of the Most High. Only his law we're supposed to follow. But you hear that common saying, common phrase, common way of talking today, follow your heart. And that comes along with the rest of the things that they say, like lucky, I'm lucky. Please stop saying that. Stop saying that you're lucky. Stop saying that you are lucky. There's nothing like luck. There is nothing like luck. We don't believe in luck. That's a hidden way of talking. That's a pagan way of talking. There's nothing like luck. We don't trust in ourselves either. Like as you saw, I showed you in 2 Chronicles chapter 19. 2 Chronicles chapter 20. 2 Chronicles chapter 20 was talking about King Jehoshaphat. He was in trouble. He ran to the Most High. 2 Chronicles chapter 20. That's what we do. We don't follow our heart. And we have to pass these things down to our children, not to follow their heart, not to talk like the heathen, to depend on the Most High, to trust on the Most High, to depend on Him and trust on Him. Oh my goodness, please, I want you to become spiritual. You have to be spiritual. You have to understand what's really going on. You have to be spiritual. Let me give you a little example, because I don't want the Most High to abandon you. I don't want the Most High to turn His backs on you, because it will be devastating for you. But you can cause it by talking and speaking in certain ways. Let me give you an example. For a while, I was regularly getting all kinds of tickets, driving violation, this ticket, that ticket, regularly. This ticket, that ticket, speeding ticket. For years now, I haven't gotten a ticket. For years, I haven't gotten a ticket. And when you get caught speeding by the police, you get fined. They fine you and you pay money. I drive a lot more now than I was doing at the time that I was getting all those tickets. You see, I'm telling you a true story, giving you my own situation. So I can say that I can either claim that I am more of a good driver now. I can say that. Or I can say that I'm lucky. That will be like me stabbing myself or shooting myself on the foot. I can say that I'm lucky. The reason why I haven't gotten any fine, or I haven't been caught or gotten any fine, because I speed. I speed. One morning I was going somewhere. It was early in the morning. It was the road was empty. I was flying. I was flying. As I was flying on this side of the road, there was a police car flying down on the he was driving down. I wasn't driving. I was flying. I was going so fast. He flashed me a light. I was going so fast that he flashed me a light, and he kept driving. He kept going. I was clearly going very fast. So it's not that, oh, I'm driving better. No. I go around yellow line. I make U-turns. I do it every day. It's not that I'm driving better now, whatever. Oh yeah, back then I was no. Please listen to this carefully, because you can use your mouth to bring trouble to yourself from the Most High when you begin to talk like the heathens. So I have a couple of options, either to give the Most High glory and thank the Most High for the money that I'm not wasting in those fines. Or, wait a minute, I'm talking about something that, let me tell you what happened about yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, I was parked somewhere. And a parking enforcement person. I didn't even see this person. It was early in the morning. I didn't even see them. Typically, if you park where you are not supposed to park, they will just pull behind you and they will write you a parking ticket. They will begin to write parking ticket. It was early in the morning. It was early. So he couldn't even see whether there's somebody in the car. It was dark. So normally, this person just yesterday morning or 2 days ago, it was either yesterday morning or no, not yesterday. Today is a Sabbath. The day before yesterday. So being that early and dark, what he was supposed to do was to pull behind that car and write a ticket, and they put it on your window. Parking ticket, a fine. But what I saw is that this person came and knocked on the back window and say, you have to move. So he said something like that. And I moved. I didn't even see this person until they got out of their car and they came and they knock on the window and say, because they're doing the street sweeping. So was I lucky? Because according to the world, according to the Gentiles, according to the worldly people, that's lucky. If I just tell you that story, you will say, oh, brother, you are lucky. And I will tell you, no, sister, or no, brother, I wasn't lucky. It will be evil. I will be evil to tell you that was luck. I will be dumb and stupid to tell you that I was lucky. That was not luck. Because when you begin to go through, when you begin to give the glory of the Most High to yourself or to some God, because that's what we're doing. We're worshiping another God. When we begin to do that, then you're putting yourself in a situation where why does he have to help you? When you will eventually thank goodness. Why does the Most High have to protect me when at the end of the day I will thank goodness, whatever the hell that means, whatever it means, which nobody is bothering to ask. What is goodness? Oh, thank goodness. You're so lucky. Thank goodness. Whatever the hell that means. Why should the Most High help me when at the end of the day I am going to go on to thank goodness and not the Most High? These are the languages that we learn from the heathen, the pagans, the infidels. You go to 2 Chronicles chapter 20, you see a Hebrew that was in trouble. He ran to the Most High. He cried out to the Most High. The whole Judah came together and cried to the Most High and told the Most High that they were powerless, that they're looking up to him. They are powerless. Read the whole chapter and see what the Most High did there. There's a way that seems right unto a man. The end is destruction. Look, whether you know it or not, if you keep talking like the heathen, whether you realize what you're doing or not, you are destroying yourself. Whether you realize it or not, if you keep taking the glory of the Most High and you're giving it to some whatever the hell that means, if you are ignorantly speaking like the heathen, you are destroying yourself. The Most High treats us like children, like his children. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32. He calls us his sons and his daughters. He said that we are his sons and his daughters. Deuteronomy 32. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. 17 and 18. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, 17 and 18. Come out from among them and be ye separate. Touch nothing unclean, and I will receive you to myself. I will be a father to you, and you will be my sons and my daughters. What would you do if your son is constantly heaping praises on your neighbor, the neighbor next to you, next to your house? Your son is always talking about this neighbor, always thanking this neighbor. Your son never acknowledges anything you do for them. You give them food, they will eat, and they will go thank the neighbor. You buy something for them, they will take it and they will go thank the neighbor. They are constantly doing this. What would you think? So I could tell you that I can't really tell you that I am a better driver when I was getting tickets and now that I don't get tickets anymore. No, because I know what I know. I don't really care that, like, I know when it comes to, I know. So I can either thank the Most High for all the money I've been saving, or I can thank goodness, whatever the hell goodness means. Ever since I began to take the law seriously, ever since I began to keep the law seriously, my life has changed. My health has improved. My body is much cleaner because I'm no longer putting junks in my mouth. No more soda. No longer drinking soda. No longer eating all this junk. I no longer go to the store and buy fried chicken and buy pizza and buy this and buy burger. I no longer eat all that junk. So my health is much cleaner. My finances have improved. So I can either thank the Most High or I can thank goodness. This is a big deal because you could wear your fringes, have your beard, wear your veil, wear your robe, dress moderately, keep the Sabbath, keep the feast days, keep all the laws and the commandments, and then you're still saying, thank goodness. Oh, I was lucky. Oh, trust in yourself. Follow your heart. If you keep all the laws, but you're talking like the heathen, you're not going anywhere. You're wasting your time. Learn not the ways of the Gentiles. Jeremiah 10:2. Learn not the ways of the heathen. 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 It is the way of the heathen to not thank the Most High. It is the way of the heathen to thank goodness, even though they can't really tell you what goodness is. Ask anybody, what is goodness? Thank goodness, what does that mean? Next time somebody says to you or says in your presence, somebody ask them, what is goodness? It is the way of the heathen to thank goodness, whatever it means. It is the way of the heathen to believe in yourself, trust in yourself, to say that you're lucky. That is the way of the heathen. The Most High is a jealous God. Our God is a jealous God that will not share his glory. So, always give the Most High glory. Always watch what you say. Watch what you say. Watch what you say. You have to watch. You see, just like we've changed the way we dress, we're now trying to dress moderately. We're trying to wear our fringes. We're trying to grow our beard. Sisters are trying to wear their veil and dress moderately and not having their breasts hanging out and their ass hanging out. As we change all of this, as we change how we eat, as we do all this, we have to also change the way we talk. The way we talk matters a lot. What we say matters a lot. The way we talk matters a lot. And what we say matters a lot. The Most High is watching us. He's watching every move we make. And sometimes there are certain things that we do and we may not even realize it. And at the end of the day, there's consequences. There will be consequences. So watch what you say, watch what you do. Never, ever, ever, ever say that you're lucky. That doesn't mean anything. That is the way that the heathens talk. Never ever say thank goodness. That is the way the heathens talk. Never ever ever say trust in yourself. That is meaningless. If you watch all these things, they are meaningless. Because when somebody says it and you ask them what does it mean? What does it mean to trust in yourself? What are they going to say? Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. How do you do that? Thank goodness. How do you thank goodness? Where is goodness? What is goodness? I was lucky. You are lucky. I hope I'm lucky. I hope I will be lucky. I hope I'm lucky. Another one that is very close is hope. 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 That's another one it's not that bad, but it's bad in a way. It's not as bad as the other one or the other words. Hope. Because hope is also meaningless. Especially for a lawkeeper. You see, the difference between us and the heathen is that we have power. We have a source. We have the Almighty. We are the people of the Almighty. We have a Father. We have a Heavenly Father who is a spirit. We have a Father who can intervene. They don't. Actually, sorry, they do. They have Satan, who is their father. Satan is their father. So how can we be speaking like people who don't have a father? How can we, instead of thanking our Heavenly Father, we're thanking goodness? Instead of trusting and hoping on the Most High, we're trusting in ourselves and believing in ourselves. So we're living like children who have no father. The Most High said that He is our Father. But we have to also, Malachi chapter 3, from verse 14. I just want you to see that He is watching and also to see what He said about His children. Malachi chapter 3, from verse 14. Malachi 3 from verse 14. Malachi 3 from verse 14. Malachi chapter 3 from verse 14. Malachi chapter 3 from verse 14. Okay, bear with me. Malachi 3 from verse 14. Malachi 3 from verse 14. Malachi chapter 3 from verse 14. Okay. All right. So Malachi chapter 3 from verse 14. This is what the Most High said, talking to the Israelite, his people. Malachi chapter 3 from verse 14. You have said, it is in vain to serve Elohim. And what profit is it that we have, and what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahweh of hosts? Verse 15. And now we call the proud happy. Yea, they that walked wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Verse 16. They that feared Yahweh spoke often with one another, and Yah hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yah, and that thought upon his name. Verse 17. And they shall be mine, said Yah of hosts, in that day, when I make my jewels, I will spare them as a man spares his own son that serveth him. Verse 18. Then ye shall return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth Elohim and him that serveth him not. So here you see our Heavenly Father describing those that are keeping his commandment, how he will spare them. He's using an example of a father and his children or his sons. But what you also see here in Malachi chapter 3 from verse 14, starting from verse 14, the Most High is talking about those who no longer keep his commandment. And the reason why they no longer keep his commandment is because they say that there's nothing to gain. There's no reason to keep the commandment. There's nothing to gain. So they stop keeping the commandment. And they begin to promote and encourage those who are breaking the law. And those who are tempting the Most High, nothing happens to them. They tempt the Most High, they mock the Most High, they refuse to obey him, they live their life and they die and nothing happens to them. And yet the Most High is still quiet. So he's watching. And some people decided, no, we will obey the Most High. We will keep the law of the Most High. That's what he's saying here. That when his anger begins, that he will spare those that feared him and serve him and keep his commandment. So children of the Most High is not supposed to be talking like those who don't have father, like bastards. We have a father. The only thing is that we have to fix our relationship with him. We have to. We have to fix our relationship. Let's get to that Deuteronomy chapter 32 that I mentioned earlier, where he talked about us being his sons and his daughters. I want you to see that even though he called us his sons and his daughters, we broke that relationship. So we have to go back and fix it. We can't run off and just be worshiping other gods and talking like the Gentiles and thinking like the Gentiles. We need to go back home and fix the relationship between us and our Heavenly Father. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Just so you can see how we are the cause of this problem. We are the ones that caused our Heavenly Father to not be happy with us. So instead of running around and talking about luck, talking about trusting in yourself, talking about goodness, we need to go back home to our Heavenly Father. spiritually and begin to keep his laws, his commandment. We need to stop following our heart and follow his words. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. As you can see in Jeremiah chapter 9 from verse 11. He said that we begin to follow our heart and not his laws. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32 from verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 32 from verse 1. Listen, O heavens, and I will speak. Hear, O earth, the words that I say. Let my teaching fall on you like rain. Let my speech settle like dew. Let my word fall like rain on tender grass, like gentle shower on young plant. Verse 3, Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 3. I will proclaim the name of Yahweh. How glorious is our Elohim. Verse 4, he is the rock. His deeds are perfect. Everything he does is just and fair. He is a faithful God, or Elohim, who does no wrong. How just and upright is he. Okay, let's get down to business. Verse 5. Let's get down to why we came to this chapter. Verse 5. Deuteronomy chapter 32 from verse 5. But they, the Israelite, Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 5. Deuteronomy 32 5. But they have acted corruptly towards him when they acted so perversely. Are they really his children? They are deceitful. They are a deceitful and twisted generation. Verse 5. But they have acted corruptly towards him when they act perversely. Are they really his children? They are deceitful and twisted. They are a deceitful and twisted generation. Verse 6. Is this the way you reply or you repay Yah? Is this the way you repay Yah? You foolish and senseless people. Isn't he your father who created you? Has he not made you and established you? Verse 7. Remember the days of old. Think about the generations past. Ask your father, and he will inform you. Inquire of your elders, and they will tell you. Verse 8. When the Most High assigned land to the nations, when he divided the human race, that's how the Asians ended up in Asia. Latinos ended up in Latin America. The Africans ended up in Africa. Europeans in Europe. That's how it was arranged in this way back then. Verse 8. When the Most High assigned the land to the nations, when he divided up the human race, he established the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of his heavenly courts. Verse 9. For the people of Israel belongs to Yah. Jacob is his special possession. Verse 10. He found them in a desert land, in an empty, howling wasteland. He surrounded them and watched over them. He guarded them as he would guard his own eyes. Verse 11. Like an eagle that rouses her chicks and hovers over her young, so he spread his wings to take them up and carried them safely to his pinion. Verse 12. Yah alone guided them. They followed no foreign gods. He let them ride over the highland and feast on the crops of the field. He nourished them with honey from the rock and olive oil from the stony ground. He fed them yogurt or milk from the herd and milk from the rock, together with the fat of lambs. He gave them choice rams from Bashan and goats, together with choicest wheat. You drank finest wine, made from the juice of grapes. Verse 15. Verse 15. Deuteronomy 32:15. Deuteronomy 32:15. But Israel soon became fat and unruly. The people grew heavy, plump, and stuffed. Then they abandoned the God who had made them. They made light of the rock of their salvation, meaning that they didn't take him seriously anymore. They made light the rock of their salvation. Verse 16. Verse 16. They stirred up his jealousy by worshiping foreign gods. They provoked his fury with detestable deeds. They offered sacrifices to demons, which are not gods. They offered sacrifices to demons. That's what we do when we say thank goodness. Who the hell is goodness? Where is goodness? Why would you say thank goodness when something good happens to you? Who is goodness? Verse 16, Deuteronomy 32:16. They stirred up his jealousy by worshiping foreign gods. They provoked his fury with detestable deeds. Verse 17. They offered sacrifices to demons, which are not gods, to gods that they had not known before. See, we're worshiping something that we don't even know. Because you can't tell me what a goodness is, what luck is. To new gods only recently arrived, to gods their ancestors had never feared. Verse 18. Deuteronomy 32:18. Deuteronomy 32:18. You neglected the rock who had fathered you. You forgot the Elohim who had given you birth. Verse 19. Yahweh saw this and drew back. Yahweh saw this and drew back. Look at that in King James. Verse 19. And when Yah saw it, he abhorred them. That's what I meant by telling you to be careful of what you say. The Most High we will draw back and let you be by yourself. You can see this happening to us in Daniel chapter 12 from verse 1. Daniel chapter 12 from verse 1. Daniel chapter 12 from verse 1. The Most High basically told the angel that was protecting Israel to step aside. The angel stepped aside. That was when our troubles began. That's how you ended up having 70 AD. What happened in 70 AD? Our enemy were able to overcome us, overpower us, and drove us out of our land. Because the angel that was assigned to protect us was no longer there. He was asked to step aside. That was when our trouble began. So you have to watch what you say. For a long time we began to worry about what we do. We worry about what we do. We're trying to keep the law. That's beautiful. That's good. We have to also watch what we say. We have to watch what comes out of our mouth. Do you understand that we can no longer lie? We can no longer lie. We can no longer lie. So it's all about what we say. We have to be very careful. So, Deuteronomy chapter 32:19. Deuteronomy 32:19. Deuteronomy 32:19. Yah saw this and drew back, provoked to anger by his own sons and daughters. Do you see that? That's what I was telling you. provoked to anger. So in different places in this chapter, you see him addressing himself. The Most High is our Father. We are his children. In Matthew chapter 6, when Christ was teaching you how to pray, he told you this is how you should pray. When you pray this way, your Father who is in heaven, he hears you. He knows what you're thinking. He knows what's in your heart. So how is it that how can we be living like people who don't have a father? We do have a spiritual father, the creator of all. How can he help us when we don't acknowledge him? We don't acknowledge him by keeping his commandment, but instead we go on to follow our heart. So verse 19, Yahweh saw this and drew back, provoked to anger by his sons and his daughters. Everybody is not his sons and his daughters. His sons and his daughters are the Israelites. We are the sons and the daughters of the Most High. We are his sons and his daughters. Everybody are not the sons and the daughters of the Most High. So as you can see in verse 8 and 9, when the Most High assigned land to the nations, when he divided up the human race, he established the boundaries of the peoples according to the number in his heavenly court. Verse 9, Deuteronomy 32 verse 9, for the people of Israel belong to the Most High. Jacob is his special possession. So when the Bible says his sons and his daughters, it's talking about the Israelites that are keeping the law, of course, because we know that the Most High said that he will kill and destroy the Israelites that refuse to keep his laws. Amos 9 and 10. Amos chapter 9 verse 9 10. Amos chapter 9 verse 9 and 10. The Most High will destroy his own people that refuse to keep his laws. So the actual children, the actual sons and daughters of the Most High are those who are keeping the law. Okay, back to verse 19. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy 32 19. Deuteronomy 32 19. For Yahweh saw this and drew back, provoked to anger by his sons and his daughters. He said, I will abandon them. I will abandon them. Verse 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom there is no faith. In this translation, it says, he said, verse 20, Deuteronomy 32:20. Deuteronomy 32:20. In this translation, it says, he said, I will abandon them, then see what becomes of them. For they are a twisted generation, children without integrity. Verse 21, they have roused my jealousy by worshipping things that are not God. Just think about this. Think about this verse 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. Think about that, my brothers and sisters. This is on point. This is on point. They have moved me to jealousy by worshipping that. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. So instead of saying thank God, thank the Most High, thank Yah, all praises to him, we're saying thank goodness. Thank goodness. And even us cannot even explain what it means. We can't even explain what goodness means. Thank goodness. Thank goodness means thank nothing. Doesn't mean anything. And you clearly see in this verse 21 what the Most High said here. They have roused my jealousy by worshiping things that are not God. Thank goodness. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. I am lucky. I wish I become lucky. Oh, you're so lucky. I was lucky. I was lucky to see that. I was lucky to find that. I was lucky to run into him. I was lucky to do this. I was lucky to do this. I was lucky to do. Oh my goodness. Deuteronomy 32:21. They have roused my jealousy by worshiping things that are not God. They have provoked my anger with their useless idols. In King James, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. Useless things. Useless things. Majority of what we do today is useless. We waste our times today on useless things, chasing after money. Take a very good look at your house. Look around you. Just look. See everything you see there? You're not taking a single thing with you. All these things that we spend our life chasing after, they are useless. Useless. It is a tragedy. It is an abomination that we abandon our primary responsibility here, which is to keep the commandment. We abandon it and we waste our precious time chasing after vanity. We listen to the heathen. We listen to the white man and the white woman as they deceive us with their education. We waste our life chasing after vanity. Even though we were warned. We were warned. We were warned that these things will happen. Luke chapter 21. So Deuteronomy chapter 32 from verse 21. They have roused my jealousy by worshiping things that are not Elohim. They have provoked me to anger with their useless idols. Now I will rouse their jealousy. Now the Most High said that he will make us jealous. Now I will arouse their jealousy through people who are not even a people. I will provoke their anger through the foolishness, the foolish Gentiles. I want you to take a very look at this verse 21. Take note of that. Mark it. Take note of it. This is your God telling your ancestors how he was going to choose the so-called Jews. Right here. Right here. Deuteronomy 32:21. Deuteronomy 32:21. Deuteronomy 32:21. What he was saying here is that because we abandon him, because we abandon his laws, because we refuse to serve him and keep the commandment, that he will choose other people to make us jealous. The power that we are supposed to have, he now gave the Gentiles, the Europeans. What did the Most High tell our ancestor? Did you remember? One of the things that the Most High told our ancestors is that anywhere we step our foot will become our own. Our God told our ancestors that anywhere we set our foot will become our own. This is the reason why the white man stepped his foot in South Africa. he said that he is from South Africa. He claims South Africa. That's why you see white people that will tell you that they are from South Africa. White man step his foot in Spain, he claims Spain. The white man step his foot in Africa, anywhere they go, they claim that they are from. That's why you have Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia is not from South Africa. That's a white man. Lawrence of Arabia is a white man. So anywhere they go, they claim to be from that place. Same thing with the Americas. It's the same power, the same thing that the Messiah told our ancestor. We don't have that power right now. You can't go anywhere you go and claim that if you go to China and claim you're from China, they'll throw you out. So the power that the Messiah was supposed to give us, he now gave the Europeans. The might he was supposed to have, he now gave the Europeans. All over the nations of the world are supposed to look up to us. The nations of the world are supposed to follow us and look up to us. Just like you see the nations of the world looking up to white people. Worldwide, all the nations of the world are looking up to white people. That's why you see Christianity all over the world. You see their education system all over the world. You see their government system all over the world. The rest of the world are looking up to them. That was the glory that we were supposed to have. The Messiah took it away from us because we refused to keep the law. We rather follow our heart. And the same white man is telling us, oh, follow your heart. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. Thank goodness. You're so lucky. So, Deuteronomy 32:21. And when we look at them, are you not jealous? Are you not jealous? Are you not jealous? Do you not see our women running around with fake hair? People who are foolish Gentiles, senseless Gentiles, ruthless Gentiles, godless Gentiles, who are actually very inferior. They are not created very well. They are not created like you. That's why they need sunglasses to go outside. That's why they need sunscreen to go outside. And yet we're looking up to them. So we have low self-esteem. The position that we're supposed to be today, the Most High took it away from us and gave it to the heathen. The position that we're supposed to be in righteously. Please go and study what happened in Jerusalem at the time of Solomon. Find out what happened when Solomon was ruling Jerusalem. The whole world was coming to Jerusalem. The whole world was looking up to Jerusalem. This is the reason why you see that till this very day, till today, Ethiopians are wearing fringes. You see Ethiopian women with fringes and their veil. You see Indians, people of India, the Sikhs, they wear their turban. That turban that they wear, that's what the Levite used to wear. As you can see in Exodus, in the book of Exodus. You see the Indians doing arranged marriage. You see the Indian women wearing their veil. So the whole nation wants to be like us. They do things because we're doing it. That is the will of the Most High. We're supposed to teach them. But today, it's backwards, opposite. Look at the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32:21. We caused it. And we have to stop. We can't keep walking in this direction. We have to turn back to our Father and stop talking like the heathens. It's something that I have to push myself not to talk like the heathen. So, verse 22, Deuteronomy 32:22. Deuteronomy 32:22. For my anger blazes forth like fire and burns to the depths of the grave, and devours the earth and all its crops, and ignites the foundations of the mountains. Verse 23. I will heap disaster upon them, and shoot them down with my arrows. Verse 24. I will weaken them with famine, burning fever, deadly disease. I will send the fang of wild beasts and poisonous snakes that glide in the dust. My goodness. Have you ever seen that snake? There's a particular snake that this snake is invisible. You can't really see this snake. This snake blends in with the dust. So it will be on the ground. You will step on it and because it looks like the ground. It blends in with it, goes into the ground. That snake can glide and go into the ground, and you will not see it. So the Messiah was saying that he will send us all kinds of evil. He will send us all kinds of evil, all kinds of problems, all kinds of adversity, problems, headache, suffering, disease, because we refused to listen. We kept killing his prophets. We kept killing his holy men. We kept murdering innocent men who was telling us to keep the law. Men who was telling us to keep the law, we kept slaughtering these men. He kept sending more, we kept killing them. He kept sending more, we kept killing them. Did we not kill John the Baptist? He was one of the last ones that we killed. Matthew chapter 14. John the Baptist was beheaded. Why was he beheaded? Why was John the Baptist beheaded? John the Baptist was beheaded. A Hebrew man. John the Baptist, Herod wanted to marry a particular woman. John the Baptist told him that he cannot do that because of the law. This woman never forgot that incident. She made sure that they killed John the Baptist. If you don't want to accept what he was saying, don't listen. Move on. You don't have to listen. But to turn around and kill him, that's what our ancestors was doing. This prophet was not forcing anybody to keep the law. So if you don't want to keep the law, just ignore them. But our ancestors did not ignore them. Our ancestors would turn around and kill them. So now when you read what the Messiah said that he would do to us, when you see our situation, our suffering, you might easily forget that we are evil, we are wicked, and we deserve every single punishment that the Messiah have inflicted on us. We deserve more than what we're going through. Yes, we are evil. Your ancestor and my ancestor was killing innocent prophets. They were slaughtering innocent people who were telling them to keep the law. We deserve every single pain and suffering that we're going through today. We deserve it. This is the reason why we have to go back to the law. It says in verse 24, I will weaken them with famine, burning fever, and deadly disease. I will send fang of wild beasts and poisonous snakes that glide in the dust. Verse 25. Outside, the sword will bring death, and inside, terror will strike. Both young men and young women, both infant and the aged. Verse 26. I will have an okay. Verse 26 is very important. I would have annihilated them, wiping out even the memory of them. Verse 27. But I fear the taunt of Israel's enemy, who might misunderstand and say, our own power have triumphed. Yahweh has nothing to do with this. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? So the Most High is saying that he would have destroyed us all. He would have killed us all. For example, when our enemy came in 70 AD, the Most High could have destroyed us all and wiped us out of the face of the earth. But he said that he will not do it. Not because of us. Not because of us. Why? Because of the Gentiles. Because of those that he sent against us. Because those people might misunderstand. And they will begin to think, oh, look at us, we're so powerful, we're so mighty, we're so powerful, we destroyed Israel. No, that's why he said he wouldn't do it. So he's going to save only those who are keeping the law. And he will wipe out those who are refusing to keep the law. Look at verse 28. Deuteronomy 32:28. Deuteronomy 32:28. But Israel is a senseless nation. Senseless nation. Senseless nation. Senseless nation. The people are foolish without understanding. Verse 29. Oh, that they were wise and could understand this. Oh, that they might know their fate. Verse 30. How could one person chase 1,000 of them, and two people put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had sold them? Oh my goodness. This chapter is exactly about what we're looking at right now. This chapter is exactly because we cannot defeat our enemy. We cannot chase our enemy. We cannot do this except our Heavenly Father help us. So when he helps us, when he does these things for us, why are we turning around and thanking goodness? When you are alive right now and your friends were dead 30 years ago, your friends were dead 10 years ago, 5 years ago, why are you giving glory to yourself? Why are you not thanking the Most High for your health, for your life? We can't do anything without the Most High. So it's saying here in verse 29, oh, that they were wise and could understand this. Oh, that they might know their fate. Verse 30, how could one person chase 1,000 of them, and two people put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock has sold them? Unless Yah had given them up? Verse 31, but the rock of our enemies is not like our rock. As even they recognize, the God of our enemy is not like our God. Our enemies have no God. Money is their God. Materialism. Money. It's all about money. At the end of the day, however you want to look at the Gentile system, the Western culture, the Europeans, white people, it's all about money at the end of the day. Education. What is it all? It comes out to money. It's all about money. What is it all about? It's all about money. That's their God. Like it says in the book of Psalms, silver and gold is the God of the heathen. Materialism. And it has become our God today because we are more obsessed with money more than them. We are greedier than the Europeans. That's the truth. We are greedier than white people. We are worse than white people. That is just the truth. If you know our people, you will know that we are worse than the Gentiles. Today, unfortunately, what you read in Ezekiel chapter 23 and 24 has now happened. White people are not obsessed with Christmas. We are. White people are not obsessed with education. Do you understand that? White people understand very well that you don't become wealthy by going to school. They sold you that lie and you bought it and they are smiling. Because what education only does is to make your children to serve their children. How many degrees does Donald Trump have? How many degrees does Bill Gates have? So to guarantee and to maintain that your children and your children's children and your children's children will continue to serve their own children, so to guarantee that their children will remain on top, they sold you the lies of their education system. And their lie have become your lie. They have no God. They don't have a God. Their God is materialism. That's it. Money. This is their heaven. This is their earth. This world is the heaven and earth of the Gentiles. This is it for them. That's why they live the way they live. It's all about materialism. This is not our heaven. This is more of our hell. This is not hell, because there will be hellfire, as we see in Isaiah chapter 66, 22 to 24. Isaiah 66, 22 to 24. There will be an actual fire that will burn people. Isaiah 66, 22 to 24. There will be an actual hellfire, says the Most High. So their God is not like our God. Their God is silver and gold, money, materialism. That's why they're obsessed with it. Unfortunately, we don't know our God anymore. We don't know our God. All we know now is their God. Money, 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 education, 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 money, 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 money. And these things distract us from our God. So, that's Deuteronomy chapter 32. It's time that we go back and know our Father. Know Him. Build up that relationship with Him. Speaking of knowing Him, 1 John chapter 2, verse 3 to 6. 1 John 3 to 6. Because if you stop saying thank goodness, if you stop saying that you're lucky, if you stop trusting in yourself, which you should not, if you stop believing in yourself, which you should not believe in yourself, don't believe in yourself, you should not, then you have to believe in something. You have to believe in something, right? The reason why the white people and the Gentiles trust in themselves, believe in themselves, and thank goodness, and say that they are lucky, is because they don't have the kind of God that we do. Their God is money, materialism. First John. First John chapter 2, verse 3 to 6 tells us how to know that we know him. First John chapter 2, 3 to 6. First John chapter 2, verse 3 to 6. And we can be sure that we know him if we obey his commandment. First John chapter 2, 3 to 6. We can be sure that we know him if we obey his commandment. If someone claims I know him, if someone claims I know Elohim or I know God, but does not obey his commandment, that person is a liar and is not living in the truth. Verse 5. But those who obey God's word truly show how completely they love him. So that's how we know that we know him, by keeping his commandment, by obeying his commandment. Because you can stop saying that you trust in yourself. You can stop saying that you believe in yourself. You can stop saying that you're lucky. You can begin to trust the Most High. But remember, Proverbs 3:31, or Proverbs 28 verse 9. Proverbs 28 verse 9. You can clearly see that in Proverbs 28 verse 9 that he that turns their ear from hearing the law, their prayer is an abomination. Proverbs 28 verse 9. Proverbs 28 verse 9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination. So, if you don't want to keep the laws of the Most High, if you don't want to start keeping all his laws, if you don't want to go back to the book of Exodus and read the whole book and begin to keep the law that you see there, if you don't want to go back to the book of Deuteronomy and read the whole book and keep the laws that you see there, the book of Numbers, the book of Leviticus, if you don't want to go and begin to keep these laws, then don't worry about trusting on the Most High, because he will not hear you. So you might want to continue thanking goodness. You might want to continue believing in yourself. You might want to continue saying that you're lucky, hoping that you will be lucky. That's a horrible way to live a life. Thanking goodness and hoping that somehow you're going to become lucky. And trusting in yourself and believing in yourself, these are meaningless, pagan way of talking. Useless way of talking. If you don't want to keep the laws of God, then go ahead and continue believing that. But if you go back and begin to keep the law of God, the law of your Creator, with all your heart and with all your soul, grow your beard, wear your fringes, get your fringes and put on your fringes. You're supposed to wear it there all the time. If you're going outside, if you're going out, put on your fringes. Keep the laws. Keep the Sabbath. No more going to church on Saturday. No more going to church on Sunday. Use the moon to keep the Sabbath. Learn about the lunar calendar, the moon calendar. That is the calendar that your God created. Genesis chapter 1, 16 to 16. Genesis 1, 16 to 16. Psalm 104 verse 19. Psalm 104 verse 19. Sirach 43 verse 6 to 8. Sirach 43 verse 6 to 8. The moon is the calendar of the Most High. So you must begin to keep the Sabbath. You must begin to keep the feast days. You must grow your beard. You must stop eating unclean food. These are things that when you begin to do these things, then you're beginning to know him. You're beginning to become his son or his daughter. So when you are in trouble, like you see in 2 Chronicles chapter 20, 2 Chronicles chapter 20, when you're in trouble, you can go and call upon him like King Jehoshaphat did, that particular king. You can call upon him. So you don't have to rely on believing in yourself, which doesn't mean anything. Trusting in yourself, believing in yourself, hoping that you get lucky, and then thanking goodness. These are useless things. We have to go back and begin to keep the law. Keep the law and trust on our Heavenly Father. Follow our Heavenly Father. Rely on Him. I'm sure I can give you even more examples of things that has happened. I've been in a situation where not too long ago I was driving. Somebody was drunk and drove on the wrong side of the road. That was a pure 100% head-on collision. That is the kind of accident that you have. You either get paralyzed or you die instantly because it's a head-on collision. Head-on collision. But the Most High helped me, and that accident was avoided. The accident was avoided. It wasn't that bad. There was some damage in my car, but it wasn't that bad. So I can either say that I was lucky for escaping death. I can say I was lucky, and then I will thank goodness. And then I will continue to live my life hoping and that I'm going to get lucky the next time. No, that's a horrible way of living. That's like living a life like a bastard, a child without a father, and has nobody to fend for them, has nobody to protect them, when we clearly have a father. When I keep telling you that the Gentiles are our enemy, when I keep telling you that the Europeans are our enemy, some of you will not get it. And if you don't understand this, there's going to come a time that I'm going to begin to pray that you will never get it. There will come a time that if you don't understand that the Gentiles are our enemies, if you don't understand that the Europeans are our enemies, there will come a time that I will then begin to pray that you don't get it. I will begin to pray that you should never get it. Just think of what happens when you're thanking goodness and you're believing in yourself and you're trusting in yourself and you're hoping that you get lucky. That separates you from your father. That particular ideology, this way of talking come from the heathen. It separates you from your father. You don't rely on your father anymore. Do you understand that that's an attack? That's not good. That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing. How many of you know about something called Inshallah? Inshallah is something that you hear from the Muslims. Why do they say that? If you meet anybody who is from the Middle East, an Arab, when they talk, usually they will say something like Inshallah. It means something. And that thing that they say is from the scriptures. Because they are Hebrew. There's a particular way that Hebrew people talk. So we say God's willing. God's will. God's willing. If it's God's will, I will do this, I will do that. God's willing. Gentiles don't talk like that. The Arabs do. God's willing, I'm going to do this. God's willing, I'm going to do that. That's how we talk. So instead of saying, I hope I'm going to do this, I hope that is going to happen, instead of saying that, I should say, I pray. I hope I will make it tomorrow. Instead, I pray I will make it tomorrow. I pray because it keeps directing you back to your Heavenly Father. It keeps pointing you back to your Heavenly Father because your Heavenly Father is a spirit. Your Heavenly Father knows what will happen tomorrow. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. Your Heavenly Father is a spirit. Our God is like I give you example with the air. the wind. You can feel the wind, but you can never see the wind. Nobody has ever seen the air. No eyes has ever. It's impossible for you to see the air, but you can feel the air. You can feel the air. And if you happen to be around a tornado, you'll be killed with the air will kill you. And you need the air to survive. Without the air, we will all die. Oxygen, the air, you cannot see it. But I'm breathing it right now, and you're breathing it. Without the air, we will all be dead. We need the air. We can feel the air, but we've never seen the air. Have you ever seen anybody that say that they don't believe in the air? Because why people will tell you they don't believe in God because nobody has ever seen God. Well, ask them, do you believe in the air? Do you believe that air exists? They will say yes. Well, why do you believe that air exists? Have you ever seen the air? So nobody has ever seen the air, but we believe that it exists. We can see our situation worldwide. We can see what we're going through. We can see how our enemies are ruling over us. We can see the things that we're going through that the scripture said that we will go through. So it's like feeling the air. We can feel the air. So we know who we are. We can see what's happening. So there's a God. We have a God. This is the way that people will be talking at the time of Noah. Because when the Most High told Noah to build the ark, after 10 years, people are going to say, I thought you said you were told to build the ark. How come there's no flood yet? After 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, people will think, people will even forget. So Christ said that before he returns, it will be as it was in the time of Noah. There was a time that the Messiah was speaking to us, and people heard that he spoke to us. Our people heard his voice. Just like you can hear a thunder. Have you ever heard a thunder before? Have you ever heard the voice of a thunder? Have you ever? Where does that thunder come from? You see a lightning, and you hear a thunder, and you get scared. That's what usually happens. Why do we get scared when we hear thunder and a lightning? Because we know that we can be killed. He can kill you. It can kill you. A lightning strike will kill you. Go on YouTube and see what lightning strike does. It can kill you instantly. So when we begin to hear the sound of thunder and lightning, we get scared. You might want to go inside. You stay away from anything like iron, because you could get killed. But we don't see anybody arguing that lightning doesn't exist or thunder doesn't exist. So there was a period of time in this world. There was a period of time that the Most High was speaking to our ancestors. They heard his voice. That period of time has passed. There has been many generations after that. We are living in at a time that he no longer speaks to us like he used to do. Now he's watching us. That's why Christ told you that it will be as it was in the time of Noah before he will return back. In the time of Noah, there was a long period of time that the Most High did not say anything. Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6. There was a time that the Most High did not say anything, and everybody was doing whatever they want. We are living at that time again, where the Most High is no longer, he's not saying anything, and everybody is doing whatever they want. As you can see in Malachi chapter 3 from verse 14. Malachi chapter 3 from verse 14. This is that period of time again, as it was in the time of Noah. The whole world is doing the same thing, believing the same thing, worshiping this, doing just, the whole world is ignoring the law. So like Yeshua Christ says in John 4:24, John 4:24, that our Heavenly Father is a spirit, and those that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Worship him in spirit and in truth. Worship him in spirit and in truth. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So that's what we need to go back to. Rely on him, like your savior told you in Matthew chapter 6. When you pray to your heavenly Father, pray to him in secret, that he knows everything that you're thinking in your heart. Matthew chapter 6, when Christ told us how to pray. So if you want the Most High, if before you even expect protection, before you even expect anything, before you even ask for anything, make sure that you're observing his law carefully with all your heart. Be willing to keep his law happily with all your heart. Be happy. Don't see it as a burden. Feel grateful. Be thankful. I am extremely grateful to the Most High. Me, I am grateful. I see myself, I'm so thankful to him that I have the opportunity to keep the law. That I have the opportunity to know and keep his laws. I feel grateful. I'm thankful. I don't have the attitude that because I'm keeping the law, I deserve to get this or get that or to be given this. The Most High does not owe me anything. He doesn't owe me anything. I am the one that owe him. I owe him my submission. I owe him my worship. I owe him my gratefulness because he is the one that created me. I am here to serve and worship him. So are you. But we are now thinking like the Gentiles that we are spoiled brats. Spoiled brats. Because I'm having my beard, I grew my beard, I'm wearing fringes. Why am I still suffering? Why am I going through this? Why am I going through that? Why am I sick? Why am I this? Why am I this? Why am I that? Don't think like that. That's a stupid way of thinking. Do you understand that you're supposed to be dead right now? Are you better than all your friends that died years ago? Are you better than those that died at childbirth? At all times, at any moment, no matter the circumstances, I don't care if your two of your legs are cut out. It doesn't matter your circumstances. It doesn't matter the situation. We must be grateful. We have to be grateful. Considering everything that has happened. Here we are complaining and whining and saying all this rubbish about what we don't have, what we don't get, we're saying all this. You could have been dead. I could be dead. Did you understand that you and I are supposed to be, we could have been dead 10 years ago. If your mother decided to have an abortion, if your mother had gotten an abortion, you would not be here talking about what you don't have, what you don't get, what the Most High is not doing for you. 100% of our attitude and behavior and desire should be, what can I do for the Most High? We already know the number one thing that he wants us to do, keep his laws. So even as we're keeping the law, we should be asking, what more can I do? What can I do for him? Not what he can do for me. This is why we are ignored. Yeah. This is why we are ignored, because we are extremely proud. I am not even talking about the world. I'm not talking about Christians. I'm talking about law-keepers. I'm talking about law-keepers. I'm talking about Israelites. We are extremely proud and arrogant towards the Most High. Our ancestors that lived 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, they would disown us. They would say, no, these people did not come from us. We are so different from our ancestors. We are extremely proud. We are so proud that it's disgusting. We are so arrogant towards the Most High that it's disgusting. Look at all our ancestors. We are extremely proud. You have no idea how bad we are. We are always praising ourselves. We're always reminding ourselves and masturbating ourselves psychologically how we are so good. We're keeping the law. We're wonderful. We are this. We're Israelite. We're beautiful. We're We're always doing that. What law are we keeping? What law are we keeping? What exactly are we doing? Because we have our beard, we're wearing our fringes. The women will put on their headscarf. Your ancestors did not wear headscarf; they wore veil. You see, little things that we're doing, and we're proud and arrogant. Our ancestors that actually kept the law, they actually kept the law. They actually did animal sacrifices. They actually kept the law. The people that actually kept the law, if they see us, they will disown us. They will say, no, these people did not come from us. Look at the Arabs. We are not humble. We are proud. I'm talking about you who are keeping the law. I'm talking about us. We are extremely proud. So we have to understand it. We have to acknowledge it so we can start working on it. Stop asking the Most High to give you something. Yeah. Stop asking Yah to give you something. Because we're entitled spoiled brats. It's like we're supposed to keep 100% of the law. We keep less than 1% and we feel that we are entitled. Luke chapter 16. Luke chapter 16 from verse 19. 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 There was a certain rich man who was splendidly clothed in purple and fine linen, and who lived each day in luxury. Verse 20, his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus, who was covered with sores. Verse 21, As Lazarus lay there, longing for scraps from the rich man's table, the dogs would come and lick open his sores. Verse 22. Finally, the poor man died and was carried by the angels to be with Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried. Verse 23. His soul went to the place of the dead. There, in torment, he saw Abraham in the far distance with Lazarus at his side. Verse 24. The rich man shouted, Father Abraham, have pity on me. Send Lazarus over here to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue. I am in anguish in these flames. Verse 25. But Abraham said to him, Son, remember that during your lifetime you had everything you wanted, and Lazarus had nothing. So now he is here being comforted, and you are in anguish. Verse 26. And beside, there is a great chasm separating us. No one can cross over to you from here, and no one can cross over to us from there. Verse 27. Then the rich man said, Please, Father Abraham, at least send him to my father's house. Verse 28. For I have 5 brothers, and I want him to warn them so that they don't end up in this place of torment. Verse 29. But Abraham said, Moses and prophet have warned them. Your brothers can read what they wrote. Verse 30. The rich man replied, No, Father Abraham, but if someone is sent to them from the dead, they will repent of their sins and turn to Elohim. Verse 31. But Abraham said, If they won't listen to Moses and the prophet, they won't listen even if someone rises from the dead. So, Luke chapter 21 is a place that clearly shows you that if you want to avoid hellfire, you must keep the law. If you read Luke chapter 21, Luke chapter 16 from verse 19. If you read what I just read right now, Luke chapter 16 from verse 19, it clearly shows you that if you want to avoid hellfire, you must keep the laws of Moses. So the reason why I brought you to this chapter, Luke chapter 19, or Luke chapter 16 from verse 19, the reason why I brought you here is because that poor man was a righteous man. That was the reason why when he died, he was taken to a place where Abraham was, the waiting area. And the rich man that lived lavishly, the rich man that had everything when he was alive, was taken to a place of torment, that he must wait, and the rest of the people that did not keep the law must wait there until the judgment day. They will be in torment there until the judgment day, and after the judgment day, they will now be cast into the actual lake of fire, as you can see in Isaiah 66, 22 to 24. Isaiah 66, 22 to 24. So my question to you is, this man, this poor man, after he died, he was taken to a place of comfort where he will wait until the judgment day. Abraham is there. The rest of the people that kept the law are there. Those that refuse to keep the law are at another area where they are living in torment. So obviously, this man, for him to make it into that particular area where Abraham was, he was a righteous man. Why was he still poor if he was a righteous man? Why was he still poor? Why was he still poor? The Most High doesn't owe you anything just because you're keeping the law. We keep the law for our own good. If we want to keep the law, that's our business. That's up to us. If you keep the law, you will live. If you don't keep the law, you will die spiritually. Those that will be with the Most High for eternity, that is His will. Those that will be with Him for eternity are those that will keep His commandment. And you will do the same thing. If you are God, you will never allow people who are rebellious to you to be around you. You will not allow those who don't want to obey you to be around you. So the Most High doesn't owe us anything. I wanted you to see that there was a poor man. There was a poor man that obviously lived a righteous life. Why was he still poor? Why didn't the Most High make someone to give him money and get him out of poverty? Why? Our Heavenly Father said that there will always be a poor among you. That's why we pay our tithes and offering, or our tithe, and 10% goes to the poor. The food that you provide go to the orphans and the widows. Just because you're poor doesn't mean that you are that God hates you. Just because you are rich doesn't mean that the Most High loves you. The Europeans, the Gentiles, have riches, but they are children of Satan. Biblically, their description in the Bible shows that they are of the seed of Satan. This riches was given to them so they can use it to oppress you. And this world is their heaven and their earth. Christ, was he not righteous? Wasn't Christ righteous? Didn't he obey all the law of the Most High? Why was he homeless? You see, your pastors and your preachers that want to take your money will not remind you. They wouldn't want to bring up the fact that Christ was a homeless man. Why was Christ a homeless man that was sleeping in the bush? Why didn't the Most High make sure that Christ was loaded with everything that he needed? Christ did not have everything that he needed. Christ, the messenger of the Most High, that was sent down from heaven, he was lacking things. He did not have everything that he needed. He had to borrow a donkey. He had to borrow a room to celebrate the Passover. He sleeps in the bush, in Mountain Olives. Look at Luke chapter 21, at the very end of Luke 21. So why did the Most High forget to make Christ wealthy? So from today, never ever think that the Most High owe you something. We are the one that owe him everything. Beginning with our submissiveness, our obedience. 100% total submissiveness to his law. The Most High he gave us everything we needed. He gave us everything. We abandoned it and we followed after the Gentiles. You're not supposed to be suffering today. I've already explained this, as you can see in Sirach 7:15. Sirach 7:15. Do not hate hard labor or farm work, for the Most High created it. The Most High created farm work. We're supposed to grow our own food, build our own house, raise our children. We used to do that. We abandoned it and we followed after white people. That's why we're suffering today. That's why we're sick and suffering. So we turn around and we blame the Most High. Really? No. The Most High does not owe us anything. Just because you're keeping the law doesn't mean the Most High should give you anything. I've given you two examples. Even Paul the apostle that was going around and preaching, Acts chapter 18, Paul had a job. Paul was a tent maker. Paul had a handwork. Paul was making tents that he was selling. Paul wasn't sitting around and expecting people to donate their tithes and their offerings. Paul was not living off of the money from the congregation. Paul actually had something that he was doing on the side. Acts chapter 18 from verse 1. Acts of Apostles chapter 18. So why didn't the Most High choose Paul? Did the Most High not choose Paul? So why did the Most High make him rich? Why did he have to make tent on the side and sell it to be able to pay for the room that he was renting, and be able to eat? Just because you are keeping the law doesn't mean the Most High will do anything for you. Every single situation you find yourself, thank the Most High. Be grateful. No matter the situation, always know that it could have been worse. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I do care what you're going through. I care. But whatever you're going through could have been worse. If you have an accident, or if you're struggling with your eye, you're having eye problem, you're struggling with your sight, you can't see very well, don't forget that there are those who don't have one eye. There are those that lost one of their eyes. Then there are those that have no eyes at all. They lost two of their eyes. There are people in accident right now, losing their two eyes right now. Then there are those who were born blind. There are those who were born blind, and they are still grateful. There are those who were born and was able to see, and then they died right after they were born. No matter the situation you find yourself, always be grateful. Don't be fake grateful. Don't be grateful in a fake way. Be grateful from all your heart. Remember that no matter the circumstance, it could have been worse. You could have been in your grave right now. You see, all your family members, they wouldn't. I have a younger sister that died of a car crash or motor accident. Sometimes I will remember her in a situation like this. When she died, I was remembering her all the time. But after some time, you begin to let go. So days will go by, weeks will go by, and you won't even remember that person. So if you had died 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you would have been forgotten by now. Whatever you have would have been divided and would have been enjoyed by those who did not work for it. Just like everything you have right now, all this stuff you're trying to hoard together, you're working hard to get, all this money that you're getting right now, you're protecting in your bank account, there will come a time that it will be divided by those who did not work hard to get that money. They will divide your property. It's just a matter of when. Everything you have will be divided by others. So no matter the circumstances you find yourself, always be grateful. Always be thankful. No matter what happened, it could have always been worse. Are you sick? It could be worse because you could have been dead already. So instead of crying and feeling bad and feeling sad, mourning, and then feeling animosity and anger towards the Most High, and asking the question, well, why is this happening to me? I'm already keeping the law. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I started keeping the law. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Why is this still happening to me? This is the spirit and the mindset that we have. It's a bad mindset. It's an evil mindset. Because the Most High doesn't owe us anything. Do you understand the deal, the covenant? We keep the commandment, then He will do the things for us. That is the covenant. Go back and read the Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28 from verse 1. Go back and read it. We do our part, then He will do His part. So I just want you to understand, don't you think that we are expert law keepers just because we're keeping the Sabbath? No. There are many laws that we're not keeping. Don't pat yourself on the back and then begin to expect the Most High to do something for you because you're keeping few laws. We must be grateful, thankful genuinely. And I've told you how to be grateful genuinely. Remember that you could have been dead right now. So we have to be grateful at every situation, and we have to now try to please our Heavenly Father, to keep His laws and His commandments with all our heart and with all our soul, with gladness, with joy, with happiness. Like as I told you, I feel grateful. When I'm happy that I have the opportunity to keep the law. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Because many people are going to live and die without keeping the law. So they have no chance for salvation, because if you don't keep the law, you're not going to get into the kingdom. You will not. The key and the passport, the way into the kingdom, is keeping the commandment, as Christ said in Matthew 19, 16 and 17. Matthew 19, 16 and 17. The only way to get into the kingdom is to keep the commandment. Also Revelation 22, 14. So I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to keep the commandment. If the Most High does something for me, fine. If I have a need and I pray and I desire for Him to help me and to do something, if He does it, fine. If He doesn't do it, that's fine. I see that that is His will. That is His will. I'm not going to remind you. I'm not even going to sit here right now. I will not sit here and remind you of all the people that you've met in your life. When you met them, you were happy. You thought everything will be fine. And after some time, you begin to regret meeting them. Things did not turn out the way you thought. Things that you've bought, and after you bought it, you begin to regret those things. So there are certain things that we desire, we think we need, we want to have. We don't even care. It doesn't even occur to us. Wait a minute. Is this the will of the Most High? Because this might not be His will. Most of the time, we don't even care. We just want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. That's all we want. So, do you do everything for your children? Do you? You don't. You don't. This is a knife. Are you going to give this to your 2-year-old child to play with? Would you allow your child to play with this? If you have a 2-year-old child or your 2-year-old grandchild or however old your child is, they're going to want to play with this. Would you give them this to play with? Because if you allow them to play with this knife, it shows that you are horrible. You are a bad parent. You hate that child if you let them play with a knife. Because they can accidentally stab themselves with this knife in the eyes or in other parts of their body. You will never allow a child to play with something dangerous. You will never do it. Why? Because you love them. But when you take the knife away from that child, what do? They will start crying. Do you give it to them because they are crying? If you see a child or any child that's trying to climb a table or climb the television or climb something, what do? You get them out of that place. What do they do in return? They start crying. Are you going to allow them to climb on top of the table or climb on something that will move and crush them to death? Are you going to allow them because they're crying? So the Messiah you don't want the Messiah to do everything for you. We clearly saw today in these scriptures in Deuteronomy 32 that he sees us as his sons and his daughters. So why would you expect the Messiah to do everything for you? In a realistic world, if you're being reasonable, if you're being righteous, you don't want the Messiah to do everything for you. That's why we say, if it is his will, this is what I will like this, I will like that, but if it is his will. And when you do say this, when you pray this, do it with all your heart. Don't be faking. Don't claim that, okay, if it's his will, I really want this, I really want that, and then when it doesn't happen, then in your mind, in your heart, you get angry. But when you're praying, you're saying, it's not my will, if it's your will. But then when he doesn't do it, then you start feeling anger within yourself. So you don't really care about his will. So like children, there are certain things that the Most High will not do for us. That's why, going back to the beginning, we let the law guide us. His law is what guides us. His law is his will. We live according to his law. If we happen to be in a situation where we need something and we want to pray for something, go ahead and pray. Like you see in Matthew chapter 6. I'm not going to ask you to pray any other way. You must pray according to Christ in Matthew chapter 6. When you pray, let his will be done. If it is his will, he will do it. If it's not his will, he will not do it. Matthew 26. Matthew 26. How many times did Christ pray? Did you know that the Messiah ignored that prayer? Our Heavenly Father did not answer that prayer. So if he did not answer the prayer of Christ, who the hell do you think you are? Who are you? Matthew 26. Before Christ was crucified, he was begging the Most High to reduce the suffering that he will have to go through. He knew exactly why he came to die. He knew exactly why he came. Before he could go to the cross, he began to pray, asking the Most High if it is possible to remove that cup from him. And the Most High did not answer that prayer. Our Heavenly Father did not answer it. So, what makes you think, Or what makes you feel that our Heavenly Father owes you something? If he doesn't always answer the prayer of his own begotten Son, the first Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, our Savior. Matthew 26, from verse 36. Matthew 26, 36. Matthew chapter 26, from verse 36. Then Yeshua went with them to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and he said, sit here while I go over there to pray. So first thing, we see that he stayed away from them. Why didn't he pray in their presence? These are his followers, his disciples, but he wanted to have privacy, like he told you in Matthew chapter 6. When you pray, like if I'm here with you right now, we can pray together because we gather together. But if I'm not gathering with you, I'm not going to pray with you. Even if you and I are together right now, we're eating and drinking, and I want to pray, I'm not going to pray with you. I'm going to go in private and go and pray in private. I'm not going to sit and pray with you. I will go and pray in private. So Matthew 36. So don't let people hear you when you pray. As you can see, Matthew chapter 6. Matthew chapter 6. But Matthew 36. Matthew 26 from verse 36. Matthew chapter 26 from verse 36. Then Yeshua went with them to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and he said, sit here while I go over there to pray. Verse 37. He took Peter and Zebedee's two sons, James and John, and he became anguished and distressed. Verse 38. He told them, my soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. Verse 39. He went a little further and bowed with his face to the ground. So when he took these two men, these three men, he took them and went a little further, but then he stepped away from them and then bowed to the ground, just like you see the Muslims do today. He bowed to the ground. Verse 39, Matthew 26, 39. He went a little further and bowed with his face to the ground, praying, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup of suffering be taken away from me. Yet, I want your will to be done, not mine. Verse 39. He went a little further and bowed his face to the ground. Today, when we pray, we're standing up or we're sitting down. And yet we claim to be followers of Christ. Daniel chapter 6. Daniel chapter 6. When he prayed, he went on his knees. He was on his knees and he lifted up his hand. 2 Chronicles chapter 6. When Solomon prayed in the temple, he went on his knees and lifted up his hands. Today we don't do that anymore. And yet we claim to be righteous. And yet we feel entitled. We feel that God must do this for us. Yah must do this for us. Yahweh must do this for us. We deserve this. We feel entitled. We don't even prayer. We don't even pray the way we're supposed to. Even prayer that he did not even command us. Prayer. When you're asking for something, we're standing up. We're sitting down. Not even prayer are we doing right. And yet we feel entitled. We feel like the Most High owes us something. We have to acknowledge that this is not good. He doesn't owe us anything and we are not righteous. So our desire should be to be righteous. Humble ourselves, grateful, knowing that we're not even keeping the law the way we're supposed to. And we must try everything possible to keep the law as much as possible. to keep all the laws. That should be our desire. If he does something for us, fine. If he doesn't do anything for us, fine. That should be our attitude. So, verse 39, he went a little further and bowed with his face to the ground, praying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup of suffering be taken away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine." Verse 40, then he returned to the disciples and found them asleep. He said to Peter, "Couldn't you watch with me even for 1 hour?" Verse 41, keep watch and pray so that you will not be given into temptation, for the spirit is willing, but the body is weak. Verse 32, then Yeshua left them a second time and prayed, "My Father, if this cup cannot be taken away unless I drink it, your will be done." Verse 33, when he returned to them again, he found them sleeping, for they couldn't keep their eyes open. Verse 44, so he went to pray a third time, saying the same thing again. Then he came to the disciples and said, "Go ahead and sleep, have your rest, but look, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners." Oh my goodness. You see what the Most High is calling the Europeans? The Europeans you see today are the descendant of the Roman Empire. Go on YouTube and type in similarities between Roman Empire and America, and then sit back and watch those videos. The Roman Empire did not collapse. Roman Empire did not go anywhere. White people you see today are the descendant of the Roman Empire. You remember the Roman Catholic Church is still in Rome till today. So, but look at what Yeshua called the Romans: sinners. In 1 Corinthians chapter 5, Paul the apostle called them the devil, Satan. Paul the apostle called white people Satan. They are the children of Satan. They are the seed of Satan. All you have to do is look at their action. Verse 45. Then he came to the disciples and said, "Go ahead and sleep, have your rest, but look, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners." Verse 46. "Up, let's be going. Look, my betrayer is here." So he prayed 3 times. All he was asking the Most High is to please. He's not saying that he doesn't want to go to the cross. That's not what he was saying. He wants to go to the cross. He came to go to the cross. All Christ was asking our Heavenly Father is to please not let him suffer those things that he will suffer in the hands of these people. Being put on the cross or on the tree, with nails being put on his hand, a thorn of crown, all those things that he will go through. That's all he was asking. If it's your will, can you please not let me go through those things? He prayed 3 times. As you can see, that prayer was not answered. He was saying, if it is your will, it's not mine, but let your will be done. These are principles that you need to understand so that you don't start growing your beard, wearing your fringes and keeping Sabbath, and then thinking that the Most High owe you anything and feeling entitled. Because those that behave that way, they eventually fall away. Eventually, they will fall out of faith. Because eventually they come to a point that they feel like, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why am I still struggling? That's why I took you through this place and you saw the scriptures. When it comes to poverty or having things, Christ was homeless. You saw the poor man. When it comes to praying, and if your attitude and our attitude should be, let his will be done. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful I'm alive. Yeah, I may not have enough food. Yes, I might be sick. Yes, I might be going through this or going through that, but at least I'm alive. If you died yesterday morning, you'll be at the mortuary right now. You'll be put in a fridge, cold. Or whatever problem you think you have right now, you wouldn't even be thinking about it right now. So our attitude should be, I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I'm alive. Thank you, Father. Thank you for the opportunity that I have to keep your laws. Thank you. I'm grateful. I'm alive. I thank you for this opportunity. Let your will be done. Let whatever you need, whatever you're seeking, let his will be done. He is your heavenly Father. If he wants, he will do it. If he doesn't want, he will not do it. Just like you, if you see your child about to play with a knife or a deadly weapon, you would take it away from that child. Even if they're screaming, you wouldn't give it to them. There are certain things that we think that we need, and we seek that thing, and then we don't get that thing. And then years after, sometime after, we look back and we're like, wow, I'm so glad I didn't get that. I'm so glad I didn't do this. I'm so glad I didn't do it. But at that very moment, you want it and you want it and you want it, and that's all you want. But then later on you look back and you're like, wow, I'm so glad I didn't go there. I'm glad I didn't do this. I'm glad I didn't do that. So let us speak like the people of the Most High and not talk like the heathen. I thank our Heavenly Father for everything. I thank the Most High for opening our eyes, for giving us the opportunity to understand these things, giving us the opportunity to keep the Sabbath, to keep the feast days, using the moon, to open our eyes. This is an opportunity for the kingdom. He has given us opportunity to work out our salvation, like Paul says in Philippians 2:12. Philippians 2:12. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. We have been given the opportunity to work out our salvation, to decide if we want to keep the commandment or not. It's an opportunity, and we can be nothing but grateful, thankful to our Heavenly Father. No more saying that we are lucky. No more thanking goodness. No more trusting in ourselves. No more believing in ourselves. No. We leave it all to the Most High. We are powerless, like our ancestors said in 2 Chronicles chapter 20. 2 Chronicles chapter 20. We are powerless and we acknowledge it. We are weak and we acknowledge it. We can't do anything. We acknowledge it. We rely on Him. We trust on Him. And we believe and we genuinely hope, let His will be done. We are thankful. We are grateful. Even when we find ourselves on a sick bed, even when we are sick on a sick bed, we are still grateful because we know that there are those who are on their grave. And we are way better than them because we are on our sick bed and they are in their grave. So which one is worse? It could have always been worse. Or look at it like that. It can always be worse, no matter the circumstances. Be grateful, be thankful, thank Him, give Him all the glory and all the honor. And keep the commandment. Proverbs 28 verse 9. Proverbs 28 verse 9. He that turns their ear from hearing the law, their prayer is an abomination. We have to keep the law. That is the main thing. That is the only thing. If you don't begin to keep all His laws, then you better be trusting you better trust in yourself. If you don't start keeping all his laws you see in Exodus, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Numbers, you better listen to white people and trust in yourself. You better trust in yourself. You better believe in yourself. You better continue hoping that you're lucky. And then thank goodness. These things are meaningless. You don't want to live your life like that. No, begin to keep the law and trust on the Most High. Thank the Most High always, always. Read the book of the law every day, every night, always. All praises to our Heavenly Father.